most famous pieces of literature of all time is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, and this book is none other than a frame narrative. To understand frame narrative, you first have to understand what a narrative is. Narratives are stories in which events happen to characters, and the way the author portrays these events to the reader is referred to as narratology. There are many different approaches the author can take here, and a main distinction, many have defined in polarity, is natural and unnatural narration. Natural is significantly more common, as this refers to when the narrative actually makes sense in the real world. Unnatural would be when the circumstances are so obscure and abstract that it doesn't make sense to legitimately exist in reality. And now we wrap back around to the frame narrative, which can be natural or unnatural, depending on the author's approach. The approach I'm using as an example, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, is natural. The story's entire structure is letters and journal entries of the characters, and we find the plot and series of events in the narrative through these broken chunks of information from different characters telling tidbits and snippets of their thoughts and experiences. This is just one way frame narrative presents itself in literature. The Decameron, for example, is compiled of stories and the characters tell to each other, which is also a natural form of frame narrative. Other stories may have incredibly unnatural elements, like the Epic of Gilgamesh, where the tales the narrator tells the reader are incredibly unreal. So what does this mean? Why is it important or necessary, or even coveted, for authors to use this form of writing to get their story to an audience? Well, the concept of a frame to get to the audience helps to put into perspective what's going on in a more unique way than just blatantly stating, "This is what is happening, here are the people, here is the situation." It sets up a more personal approach to answer questions like what is the motive and what is the purpose, and it makes the entire story a lot more personal for the reader. Going back to one of our examples, the Decameron is taking place during the plague, and all the characters are sharing stories to pass the time and bond in the midst of the world falling apart essentially right behind them. If the text was structured any differently, it wouldn't be as famous as it is, because the readers wouldn't connect to it in the same way. And this is the same case for Frankenstein, as the reader gets a front row seat to the thoughts of the characters, and as you are reading, you see their motivations and even opinions on each other. So laying it out, or really I should say framing it out, frame narrative is a form of writing to get the audience to feel more personally involved in the story, and it has been used since writing was just beginning. And even Beowulf, one of the earliest literary texts we have record of, uses this frame narrative. So it's a classic, unique way for an author to tell a story.